beginner guitar player, one of the taboo subjects that you'll hear about is the truss rod on your guitar, which is ironic because a truss rod is, in many cases, the simplest and best way to adjust your guitar so it plays better, sounds better, and you sound better overall. But it can also be a surefire way to damage your guitar irreparably if you're not careful. So what I'm going to do today is talk about how to adjust it, what it actually is, what it does. And if you're at all in question about adjusting your truss rod, what I would suggest is take it to a qualified repair person at your music shop. And as you're paying them to adjust your guitar, sort of have them show you what it is that they're doing and what the difference is in the guitar after the adjustment, so that you can try it in the future. But definitely, if you're going to adjust your truss rod, it's kind of at your own risk. And the thing to realize is that as long as you're not over-tightening or really pulling too hard on it, you really can't do any damage to the guitar. Where people go wrong is they over-tighten the truss rod and eventually it breaks. But this truss rod at the end of this guitar has a little plate that covers it. And I'm just going to unscrew that plate. This pops off. And then as you can see, there's a bolt in there. And that bolt actually leads to a rod which runs the entire length of the guitar neck, inside the neck. And so with this adjustment wrench, I'm just going to put this in there, put it over the bolt, and it's as simple as just moving it clockwise or counterclockwise. And a modern truss rod, you can adjust either direction. If you turn it clockwise, generally you're going to make the neck will actually turn a little bit convex, and in the other direction it'll be concave. So what you're really trying to do is sort of assess the distance of how far your strings are off your fretboard. If they're very far off your fretboard, you can see the shot up on the screen right now where the strings are just too far above the fretboard. That could lead to intonation problems, and it's just generally difficult to play. If your strings are too close to the fretboard, your notes will buzz, and it just won't sound good. You get a lot of buzzing notes, and if you try to bend strings, they'll definitely fret out. So you just want to get that happy medium where the strings are just exactly where they need to be. And adjusting the truss rod, again, is kind of the first step when you're really trying to get the guitar to play right. So if I were to turn it like this, you can see I'm just using a couple fingers for pressure, just kind of a quarter turn. That's actually going to make a pretty dramatic change in the neck, believe it or not. And then if I were to take it back and move it the other direction, the same idea. What I'm really trying to get across is that you never, ever want to really get in there and just pull that truss rod as hard as you can with all your might. That'll definitely break the rod. So if you kind of have more than that, couple fingers pressure, if you have to do a little more than that, then if it's still not helping your guitar, you definitely want to get it repaired by a professional. But all that being said, there's really no reason to fear adjusting the truss rod if you just kind of use that guideline and don't use too much pressure. The other thing about it too is as you move the truss rod a little bit like that, maybe just a quarter turn, you want to let the guitar sit, maybe even an hour or so before you come back, and generally you'll see a difference immediately, but it'll really set the neck, will kind of adjust. It's wood after all, so it'll kind of adjust, come back after like a half hour, an hour, play it, check it out. If it needs more or less truss rod adjustment, give it a shot. But again, if you use too much pressure, that's a bad idea. Generally speaking, if a guitar needs a truss rod adjustment where you really have to go in there and kind of use all your might to turn the truss rod, then the truss rod itself really isn't the problem. The neck might be warped. It might need a whole fret job. The frets might need to be adjusted, or something as the bridge height might need to be adjusted as well. So there's a few other things you can do. And that's a little bit about understanding your truss rod. That starts with a hammer-on from the 7th to the 9th fret on the 3rd string. And then the 8th fret on the 2nd string. So I really think of that as 3 different little sections that make that whole, starting with the first section.